This is the Let's Go Win podcast with your host, J.M. Ryerson.
What is happening, you guys? Welcome back to Let's Go Win podcast. We're here for some Tuesday tune-up. I am J.M. Ryerson, and to my right,
Lisa Ryerson.
Good morning, my love.
Good morning. How are you?
I'm doing amazing. You know, I feel great.
That's
excited
fantastic.
to be here. How are you feeling? Do you really care how I feel? Because you asked it, so I'm going to tell you exactly how I feel.
Sometimes I care. Most days I care.
Isn't it funny, though? And again, this is not the subject of the podcast, but isn't it funny how often we will say things like, how are you? And then not really give a shit how the other person is doing. It's such a filler. I might have to blog on this because it is something that so often we will ask, like, hey, how are you? And then they're like, I'm doing horribly. And you're like, ooh, that is not what I wanted to hear. I just wanted you to give me the generic, I'm doing okay too.
But I think it's like a habit, right? It's like, hi, how are you? It's just out of habit.
100%. It's a conditioned thing that we do, but it's so often when people are honest and they're like, nah, man, I'm having a crappy day. How are you doing? And he just surprised you. So anyway, I'm doing great. Thank you. I really do appreciate that.
Good.
What we are talking about today is leadership. And one of the title of it, what I wrote about is leading yourself first. And the reason I thought this was so interesting is because somebody asked me, how do you start with clients? Where do you start? And my answer is always, it is starting with that person, especially in leadership. You have to start with yourself first. If you cannot lead yourself, how can you expect to lead other people? Whether you're a parent, whether you are, leading an organization, a business. So when I say that, what comes to your mind when I say you start by leading yourself first?
Well, it's funny because something totally just popped up in my head when you said that. And it reminds me of when you're on a plane, right? You're on a plane and they go through all their spiel on what you're supposed to do and no one's really listening, but you probably should if the plane crashes. But they always say, make sure that you put on your oxygen mask first before helping your children or, others around you, right? That makes total sense. It's like, because if you don't save yourself first, how are you going to save other people? Kind of same.
No, 100% true. And this is something especially, and I'm generalizing, but moms, this is the big one for moms. I'm like, you need to take care of you first. Mm-hmm. So I'm going to start right there. And that is investing in yourself. That's point number one. In order for you to lead yourself first, you need to make sure you are investing in yourself. And again, my best thought analogy is so often with moms that have they're taking care of the kids. A lot of times they're taking care of their significant other, spouse. Certainly in our case, you do that. But the truth is you have to take care of yourself first. Now, I think you do a great job of this.
Oh, I have gone to the point where I'm truly phenomenal at it. And I'm going to pat myself on the back on this one because I've had to work really hard on it. So I'll explain myself. So when I first had kiddos and I wasn't working, it was a big change, right, for us. I went from working full-time to being a full-time stay-at-home mom, something I probably shouldn't have done. But I wanted to be home with the baby, right? And I didn't know what it was going to look like. And all I was doing was baby all day, just watching this baby sleep, doing all this stuff, but not taking care of myself. And then you get home and I make sure you were taken care of. And I just became resentful. I became unhappy. I wasn't taking care of myself at the end of the day. And I remember then you helped me out so much with that because I remember after having 2 kids and wearing myself completely down, you literally called up my best friend, Amy, and said, hey, Amy, I'm going to pay for a trip for both of you. Please take Lisa out of town for the weekend. She needs a break. And that was so great, right? Like it was so good of you to do that. And I'm so thankful for that. And I started realizing that I had to take care of myself. Because if I don't take care of myself, I become a worse mom over time. I become a worse wife over time. And it's so important because when I do take care of myself, when I do get my massages, I have my beauty days, I do my retail shopping, I, go hang out with girlfriends, I have lunch, I do girls trips, multiple times a year. I come back refreshed and ready to, like I miss my kids, I miss you. And I'm like, all right, like I'm ready to rock and roll again because you have to fill your tanks. You have to fill your buckets. And so, yes, I've become very good at it. And the reason why I say that is because I have now, we moved to Florida, meeting all these amazing, wonderful other moms, and they are completely wrapped up in their children, which is great. Like they're amazing moms, but you can just see they're just frazzled and they're tired all the time. And I've become the bad influence, quote unquote, which is actually a good influence, right? And they're like, oh my gosh, we haven't had a massage in years. And we went to one yesterday. We had dinner out with the girls. I have taken them out to lunch and they're like, oh my gosh, this is amazing. We need to do this again. And I go, yeah, this is a normal practice for me. And they're like, really? I go, yeah. Because I know that I need to take care of myself in order to take care of the family.
No, it's true. Here's one thing that I will tell you, and it does drive me crazy sometimes. So good. I'm glad I helped with that. She has taken it to the next degree. You cannot reschedule her stuff. She does not allow it. But this is important. I would say to calendar in these things and treat it just the same as you would any other meeting. Like you getting that massage, you spending time with your friends, you getting out and golfing, or in this case, what I was really going for is investing in your leadership skills. But same idea, like literally calendar it out and you treat that as any other appointment. You don't reschedule it. It is not pliable and movable. It is just as important as every other meeting. Because here's what I do know. Investing in yourself is the best investment you will ever make, and it is worth every penny. And anybody that tells me otherwise, we have far bigger issues that we need to confront, which is if you don't believe that you're worthy, you can't lead anybody else. So that is what I want to, before we go to the next, the next tip, is make sure you're investing in yourself. You are worth every penny. You deserve it, and it's going to allow you to be a better leader, better mom, better spouse, all of those things. The next point I had is holding yourself to a higher standard. And what I mean by that, if you ask anybody to do anything, so for instance, we ask our son all the time when it comes to tennis, because he tells us a certain goal that this is what I want to achieve. And so when we say, okay, these would be the expectations, but we don't ask him to do anything we weren't willing to do as athletes, right? Or, and that's my best analogy. And I had a coach that we had to run 2 miles every, I think it was Monday and Wednesdays, but he would run 5 miles on those days. So it was like we would moan and groan, but the truth is we knew coach was grinding out 5 miles. So holding yourself to a higher standard as a leader is so important, because if you're asking somebody to do something you're not willing to do, it doesn't work. It's not authentic. So I don't know if you have some thoughts or examples of that as well.
Yeah, absolutely. Because how are you going to lead if you're not doing those things, right? You lead by example. I mean, that's the best way to put it. I think you nailed that one.
Nailed it.
I don't have anything else to add.
She just mic dropped on me, and now I'm okay. We are moving on to the next
one.
And then the last tip that I have specific to improving and leading yourself first is work on what matters. So frequently, we go through the day and we're not clear on why we're doing it. So working on what matters. If you can take a small moment the night before, the day of, as you're doing it, ask yourself, why am I doing this? Why is this task important? Emails, social media, like some of these things, they're just not that important. Yet I'll talk to people all the time. They're like, I don't have any more time in my day. The truth is you have a ton of time in your day. Your choices are not allowing you, and they're wearing you down. So yes, grind it. We were just on with a marketing company, and the guy literally said 2.5 hours is the average of Facebook users being on their account per day. that blew me away. Now, I don't know how accurate that is, but he had all the analytics, and I'm going, so let's just say you again, instead of doing that 2.5 hours, maybe you spend an hour and a half and invest that other hour on you or working on what matters. So do you have a process that you use to work on what matters?
Yeah, absolutely. I am super OCD. Actually, beside this side note, sidebar, I had a handyman that was in our house yesterday, fixing a few things, putting up a few things for us. And it was funny because, from an OCD person to another OCD person, you can scout them out like that. Like I just knew. And it must have taken him 20 minutes just to hang this one little thing up in the bathroom yesterday, but it was perfect. Right. And I go, man, that's awesome. You're OCD. And he goes, yeah, I take that as a compliment. He goes, so many times it's such a negative thing, and he goes, but I take it as, I go, I do too. Because there is nothing wrong with holding yourself to a higher level or making sure that you're doing the right things that matters, right, to you and your why. And so anyways, I was totally off on a whole nother thing, but coming back to it, I definitely look at my schedule every single day and go, hey, what are the important things that I have to do? Now, there's a whole bunch of other tasks like running errands, and I have it on my phone and it's in my notes section, and things that I have to get done are like spaced out. These are the things I have to get done today, like super important. And then if they don't, other things that aren't as important, they'll get pushed to tomorrow, right? So I have all these errands, like buying dog food has been on my list, canned food. And I'm like, yeah, she has other dog food. She doesn't have her wet food. But is that really important? No, she's still going to survive, right? Like what really matters today and what I have to get done today is really important. So another example of that, we are leaving, right? We're going to be gone traveling and working here shortly. And so there is a bunch of stuff I have to get done before our date that we leave. So that, I have it all mapped out. Like these are things I have to get done by this date, this date, this date, and moving forward.
Yeah. So I look at that, for instance, I always have notebooks in front of me. Literally, I have a task list, and then I have a specific list that says, these are the 3 things I have to get done today in order for it to be a success. And often the task list, it doesn't get done. Like most often it doesn't. And I will add, subtract. But the top 3 things, if I don't get those done, the day is not a success in any way, shape, or form. And for me, it's like taking care of my mind, my body, and my soul. And she will know immediately, hey, you didn't go work out today because I'm not as sharp. I'm not as happy. That's one of those things that I absolutely have to get done. Those are the 3 things I have to get done. And that's what I'm talking about. Work on what matters. You have a sly little look on your face, and I can, even behind, I can feel the energy. I can't even see your face. Good Lord.
Not as happy, meaning if he doesn't work out, he kind of gets crabby.
It's true. I'm not
super crabby.
I will own that. I need to work out. It makes me feel better. But you were talking about the dog, and this is for parents out there. Whenever Lisa would leave, she would do this endless routine and list of this is exactly how it goes. And I told her a long time ago, no, I have one job. I have literally one job, and it's literally keep those kids alive. That is it. They're not going to be dressed appropriately. They're going to have probably the wrong food. Their sleep schedule is going to be all jacked up, but I promise they will be alive. And that's all I did. I will tell you as a dad, I felt my job was not to follow said schedule, but rather to keep our kids alive. So
this is so funny. It makes me remind me back to, or remember when we were in California. And it's so funny because at all these moms, and the second that they left town or whatnot, like you knew, even if I didn't know they were leaving town, and I'd see the dad out with the kids and their kids' hair's a mess. Sometimes, remember Ulysses? The kids didn't even have shoes on their feet.
No pants.
No pants.
Many times, no pants.
Hilarious. It's so funny. But guess what? Those kids are still alive.
Still alive. Does it really matter that they look good? No. The pictures aren't as nice, but the kids are alive. That's all that matters. So going back to it, in order to really increase your leadership, lead yourself first. Invest in yourself. Hold yourself to that higher standard. and work on what matters. At least we have an online course that launched.
Yes.
Can you tell everybody
So
where they can get it and
excited.
what they can kind of get from it?
Yeah, super exciting stuff. And so you can go on our website and find it at letsgowin.com. It is an amazing, I truly believe anybody can take that course, but it really is for anybody that is, in sales, like looking for a sales career, in sales right now. And I think it's phenomenal because it's a very simple way to double your sales, basically, if that's what you're looking to do in your business, anything.
Yeah, I believe life is sales. So I think anybody can get, whether you are in sales as your occupation or not, you will get something from it, and building a team. Look, the other part of that course is how to build a team. If there's one thing I think I'm decent at, it is building teams. And so I put a lot of work into it and I'm proud of it. And I would love for you guys to go check it out. Let me know give me feedback, good, bad, and different. I want that feedback. So go check it out. Letsgowin.com, you guys. I'm proud of it. I want you guys to do it. And I think you'll get a lot from it. So until next week, you guys continue transcending life. We'll talk to you then. Thank you so much for listening. If this content is delivering value to you, please make sure to subscribe, rate, and review us. That helps us build this community, and that is what we are all about. Building this community as big as we can, helping as many people as we can, and deliver as much value as possible. Be sure to head over to letsgowinpodcast.com for information on my coaching courses, and make sure to follow us on Facebook, Instagram, and LinkedIn at Let's Go Win 365. Let's go win and transcend in life.
This is the Let's Go Win podcast with your host, J.M. Ryerson.